Welcome to Monday Night Live, the weekly training that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth.
All right, so welcome to tonight's Monday Night Live class, guys. We got a great guest tonight, Deborah Razzo, again, who I interviewed on the podcast probably a month or so ago, so that will be coming live anytime now. And an extremely important subject because we all have price sheets and charts and checkoff forms and things we use for helping ourselves and our clients in rehab projects, and including in ReallyFlow, our lead gen system. There's some awesome tools in there, but you know, I would double check everything while things are in flux, particularly the pricing on any of those forms that are like things are pre-filled. So, in any case, without further ado, Deborah, welcome aboard. We're glad you're here. If you wouldn't mind, maybe catch everybody up on your how do you got to where you are now and doing what you're doing now. Just paint us a picture.
Sure. You know what? Can I go ahead and share my screen and I'll just
Yep.
start?
So let me
Okay.
get you where you are, Deborah. I'm sorry, I said I was going to make you co-host, and I didn't actually do it. So,
Okay.
okay, now you should be co-host. Yeah.
Here we go. Well, first of all, I just want to say, Gary, thank you for having me on and inviting me to speak on something I'm crazy about. I love rehabbing, guys. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit of an addict. And I believe, Gary, when you asked me to speak, you expected me to speak on real estate, and I'm going to speak on real estate, but I'm going to offer you a little something more because I believe there is truth to this quote. Your business is your mindset. And success is 80% psychology and only 20% mechanics. All right. So I just really want you to think about that. Your business is 80% of your psychology and only 20% of your mechanics. And I want to start off here by talking about your mind muscle. Yes, that is something that we're always exercising and always building. And I want to talk about building your mind muscle because the truth is, I believe our minds sometimes play tricks on us. And I'd like to start off this talk by just getting real. And to do that, I felt like that it was best described by a comedian that I just recently saw. And he said, your mind is a jerk. It doesn't love you all the time, right? Think about it. Your brain could make you happy all the time for no reason whatsoever. At any moment it wants to. It has all the ingredients. It has dopamine, adrenaline, endorphins. It's all up there. And your brain is just a withholding piece of crap. It has all the good stuff sequestered in a corner somewhere. And your brain is like, do you want to feel really good? And you're like, yeah. And your brain is like, do you want to feel real nice? And you're like, yeah. And then your brain is like, go for a jog. Right? I mean, that's how it is. It's just really that way. Sometimes it seems like our brain isn't working for us. And that's why when I speak about the mechanics of real estate, I'm also going to speak about mindset and the mechanics of business. Just to give you a little update, my name is Deborah Razzo, and I've been an entrepreneur for almost 30 years. I've had 4 different businesses, and I currently own and operate 2. I started investing in real estate about 14 years ago. Why? Why real estate? You have to ask yourself what's in it for you. What does real estate equal for you? Is it riches? And I'm not just talking about money. I mean time rich and energy rich. In my opinion, better than money is freedom, living life on your own terms. You see, 14 years ago, I had an opportunity to start over. I don't know. I want to pull up your chat. Has anyone here ever had an opportunity to start over? For some people, it could be the death of a loved one. It could be a divorce. It could be an illness. For me, it was a car accident. A tire blew, and the driver of the SUV I was in lost control of the car. We ended up in the dirt by the side of the road, and the rim of the tire dug into the ground, and the car flipped. And the car flipped driver's side first. So the passenger, me, got the impact of the accident. And I
Mm.
was eventually evac'd to a hospital where my head wound was stitched back together, and I was told I had a broken neck. They would have to wait to operate because some of the swelling had to go down before I got my titanium brace. And it took me a little over a year to heal. And during that time, I had a lot of time to think. And I thought about how short life was. And I asked myself if I was really living it the way I wanted. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't have a bad life, but was it really what I wanted? And I
Mhm.
realized that I had a business that I wasn't running, but that was running me. I wanted to change my life, and I had heard the term passive income, and I decided that's what I wanted. It would give me more time for family and time to travel the world, and I wanted more joy in my life. But the truth is, I didn't know how to change. So I don't know how to get passive income. Now, my brother, who had been to a bunch of Tony Robbins events, was taking care of me after my accident. And he suggested that I go to an event when I was ready. And for those of you that don't know, Tony Robbins is a high performance coach and wealth strategist. And I actually now work for the Robbins organization. I'm one of 200 trainers worldwide that work at his live events and help people make their transitions. So what I did is I started to educate myself. I got a mentor. One of the things that I learned while studying with the Robbins organization, accelerate your growth by getting mentors around you that have done what you want to do, and surround yourself with the right peer group, right? Now I flip in Los Angeles, and I'm going to share a lot of that case study with you. And I have single family homes in Memphis, Tennessee, and multifamilies in Tucson, Arizona, as well as Houston, Texas. And after flipping for a while, I started to develop in LA, and my skills grew, right? I just actually came from Puerto Rico, where I opened a bed and breakfast there. And I'm an agent. Right? Multiple
Yeah.
streams of income. And now I'm focusing my energy on partnering with investors who seek financial freedom through real estate. So I want to get started here, and I want to have some fun tonight. So, and I want it to be interactive. So get your chat up and let's engage. In fact, Gary, if I miss any questions in the chat, could
Yep.
you help me with that? I really
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about flipping houses, and I'm going to break it down into 3 steps. And then I'm also going to talk about creating breakthrough in your life. And we're going to talk about mindset, right? And then I'm going to share with you a case study of a house that I flipped so that you can see some of the ways that I structure things. And then I'm going to leave you with just a little final story. And the other thing I want to let you know is that I want engagement. We're all here together. So bring up your chat and turn on your video if you haven't already got it on. And if you're willing to engage with me, please put yes in the chat. It's excited, especially for mindset. Yahoo, Jeanette, I appreciate that. So let's sit up and be alert with some energy, because your best learning is when you're present and you're energetic. All right, so I'm going to go over rehabbing, and I'm going to do it and break it down into 3 steps, right? So there's the purchase, there's the rehab, and there's the sale. Pretty simple, right? I'm going to go over each one of these steps in detail. Now, it would take way too long if I broke down every component in each step. So I'm going to break down just one component, and then I'm going to rapid fire some things off to you. But I'm hoping that you'll just be able to glean the information that you need. So purchasing. There's 4 basic steps in purchasing: running the numbers, finding the deals, making offers, and funding the deals, right? So in this section, I'm really going to concentrate on running the numbers. And I'm going to walk you through a simple 1-sheet calculator that'll help you to understand more fully how to see the boundary of the numbers. So after you want, I'll give you access to an Excel spreadsheet so that you can have an Excel spreadsheet if you want to run numbers for yourself. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to share with you the calculator that I'll put this, I'm going to share it with you, and then I'm going to put it in the chat so that
Okay.
you guys have it. Okay.
Thank you for that too.
You're welcome.
Hmm.
There we go. Okay. This is a simple residential calculator. And I mean, this is like as simple as they get. You can print it out and then you can fill it out. Okay. And I'm just going to go through each area. Honestly, this is how I learned and this is how I first did it. So you're going to first, I always put in the property address because I have a bunch of these floating around everywhere. And then purchase price. Obviously, that's questionable depending on what it is you're going to offer and what it is that they're going to accept. But there's always, a rough purchase price so that when you start to run numbers that you can put something in there. Rehab costs. Okay, this is hard to estimate. I have a little cheat sheet down here on rehab costs. And this is going to vary depending on your local, your where you live, right? So if it's a light rehab, I'm estimating $45 a square foot. If it's a medium rehab, I'm estimating $60 a square foot. And if it's a heavy rehab, I'm estimating 75. This is just a ballpark for you to run some numbers so that you have something. So, line 3 is your total cost, right? It's your purchase price plus your rehab. You need a down payment. Usually they're 25%, depending on your lender, which we'll talk about that later. And so there's the loan amount. I reserve about 2% for loan costs or escrow costs. And so once you get that, you'll have your down payment and your loan costs, and that's what your initial capital that you need to get into the deal, right? Fairly straightforward. Now we've got sale escrow. So we're going to do a projected sale price, which is an ARV. Now for ARVs, what I usually do is, and you guys know how to do this because you're agents, right? You guys are on the beating edge of real estate. So I think that all of you should be, investing. But you should look at after repair value. I look in a 1 to 3 mile radius with a comparable home. And I look at overall price and value as well as price per square foot. And I try to calculate it that way so that I can get a real good idea of what my ARV is going to be. Okay, so then after that, we've got escrow costs, which are usually about 1% on the exit escrow. We've got real estate commissions. I put 5% here. I'm going to talk about this later. If you're representing yourself, which I do sometimes, there are times I don't represent myself, then, those real estate commissions will be coming back to me. Those real estate commissions would be coming back to you. And then I have mortgage payments. Now here I have 4% of the loan amount because I like to try to do my rehabs in 4 months. Obviously, if it's a bigger rehab and it might take you 6 months, and that is from purchase to a sale escrow. So a 4-month rehab means I've got to have it on the market in 2.5 to 3 months, right? In order for that escrow to go through to sell it. So 6 months, that means I have to have it on the market in 4 months. Any lender points you need to calculate in. The loan amount, you just put that in there. The initial capital, you put that in there. And then you've got total costs, right? So then you add all these lines together and you have total costs, and then you calculate net profit. And then I have some calculations down here for cash on cash return. If you want that. So it's a really simple way. And why is that? Why have I made it simple? I've made it simple because you have to actually put the offer in there to actually start competing in getting, any kind of project like this. So I want you to do these numbers and get used to doing it really simply so that you can see if the numbers work. And if the numbers work, you put an offer in and then you negotiate further once your offer is in. So do you have any questions on that sheet? And I'll go ahead and put it in the chat. Anybody have any questions? Put it in the chat if you have any questions. Or
I like the fact that you cover all the financials up front. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just like, why go through all the effort of physically looking at a property for the rehab part of it and determining all those costs if financially it doesn't, it's got a, little chance of making a profit. So
Right.
we do that. We do a financial analysis first as much as we can before we ever go look at a property. But a lot of people, they instinctively go look at the property first, you know?
Right.
Uh,
And I
yeah,
think there's a lot of people that really want to like have their contractor look at a property and have him make up a bid and everything. And if it's a really good deal and there's other rehabbers out there, you're gonna miss the deal by the time that happens. Right? So you have to
yeah,
start, learning that, you put the offer in and then you can negotiate finer points once you're in escrow, right?
yeah.
So I've just put that in the chat for anybody to download if they want to. And then
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to yeah, there we go. All right. So what I gave you, what I went through with you here was that my simple house flipping calculator. I have a more complex house flipping calculator that's done on Excel. Everything in red, if you see all the red there, it are numbers that you would put in. And then everything is already formulated out so that it calculates the rest of stuff. So in the Excel spreadsheet, you can actually put in different purchase prices, right? So I have a purchase price of 275, 250, 225, 200, right?
Mhm.
And the numbers change depending on what those are. And then you can put in different sale prices, right? Obviously ARV or purchase prices are things that vary, right? So here's my worst case scenario. I think I'd get 315 for this. Here's the middle case, 325, best case 340. And then, it calculates down and tells you what your net profits are going to be. I have this as a freebie, and I'm going to put that link in the chat. There you go. And I do it that way because this is one of the things that people ask me the most of, right? Like, how do you calculate the numbers? And it's just a little like 20-minute video that I walk you through how to use this Excel calculator, and then you can download the Excel calculator. So if you're interested in that, and Excel, if you don't know Excel, go to YouTube University, learn Excel. This is a very simple Excel spreadsheet, and it's something that I use all the time so that I can calculate my deals. Well, there we go. So I wanted to talk to you about running the numbers, and then I'm not going to go into depth on the other three things, but I'm going to, hold on to your seat because I'm just going to fire hose you through those things. So finding deals, you guys are on the cutting edge, like as agents, of knowing what properties, or you're out in the field all the time. If you see a house that is been neglected, that is a prospect, that is a deal, right? And you can go up to them, and I highly suggest you work with your broker on this about how to approach. If it's something that you're looking for doing, you need to disclose that you're an agent, right? So I'll say I'm an agent and I'm also an investor, and I'm wondering if you're looking to sell this house, right? And then you can find deals that way. You can find deals because you have other agents in your office that have pocket listings, right? You have wholesalers, you have people, you have networks. There's all different ways to find deals. Making offers, obviously you have standard purchase and sales agreements, and you go over the elements of a contract. I don't need to tell a bunch of agents how to go over elements of a contract. All I need to tell you is that I always leave myself an out, whether it's an out with inspection or whether it's out with financial contingency. I always give myself a little bit of time to get out of the deal if I need to after discovering something with inspections. And then financing the deal. So funding the deal is different in rehabbing, because many times we're using hard money lending. So I need to get an idea from you if how many of you know what hard money lending is and how it works. If you know, just say yes in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple of you know. Okay, and some of you don't. So I'm just Oh, okay. Oh, most of you know. Okay, great. So you guys know what hard money lending is, right? So I work with a bunch of different hard money lenders, and they'll give me proof of funds like that, or I get a proof of funds from them when I'm looking for properties, and then I submit them with my offers. Obviously, you can do conventional lending. I have done conventional lending, but I've only done it on times when I'm rehabbing something that's really large or high end, because it's too expensive to get hard money on that. And high end properties take longer to rehab, so you're in them longer. You can use private money, obviously. These are friends and family or people that you meet that want to put their money to work on a project. There's lots of ways that you could structure your money, and there's lots of money out there. So I suggest you do that. Okay, now we're to the fun part, which is the rehab part of things. I'm going to talk, like I said, I'm going to go into one portion of this in depth. I'm going to go into the scope of work in depth, because I really think that it's really important. And I think a lot of people don't know how to really utilize a scope of work to your advantage. And then we're going to talk about contractors. They're a special breed. Anybody here a contractor? Just FYI, I used to be married to one. So yeah, I can say that with firsthand knowledge, they are a special breed. And we're going to talk about rehab budgets. Okay. So I do a very detailed scope of work, and a scope of work is where you're listing everything that needs to be done to that property: painting, carpeting, kitchen, bathrooms, electrical, plumbing. You're going to list everything. Replacing carpet is always a good idea. It pretty much immediately pays for itself. And you also are going to really do your scope of work depending on why you're rehabbing the property. And so I just want to point out, I have rehabbed property that I have flipped. So I'm rehabbing to sell again. And I have rehab property that I want as a rental. Okay. And I'm going to rehab those in different ways. On a flip, I'm going to probably put tiles in all the bathrooms. On a rental, I might stick to something that's a little more durable, right? So on the flip, I might put hardwood floors and new kitchen cabinets. On the rental, I might opt to paint, right? You have to look what's in your market and what you're going to do, and then make your scope of work to that, right? You always want to make your scope of work to how it is you're going to utilize the property at the end. Now, I do a very detailed scope of work. I hope you guys can see this. I name the house, and then I go through the entire house, right? Scrape off acoustic ceiling and smooth out the ceilings, repair drywalls. Like, these are the entire houses. And then I go through each room, and I'm very detailed with each room. Whether it's a bedroom, whether it's a bathroom, whether it's the garage, as well as the exterior. And then at the end, I have these two little sections of my scope. Price includes what the contractor buys. And I list everything the contractor is going to buy. Additional requirements for the contractor: haul out all debris nightly, leave house neat and clean nightly, nothing left outside in front of the house overnight, no complaints from the neighbors, accommodate our special office needs. I always put what I call an office, which sometimes it's a door that's over a couple canisters that acts as my desk, in my rehab, so that I have someplace to sit and work. And I always put this in my scope of work: be on site. The contractor must be on site at least once a day until finished. So for anybody that has had those contractors that go AWOL. Now, I also put the owner still gets to choose, right? I want to be able to choose things, but I want them in the contractor's budget, right? So when it comes to working with your contractor, I might go to him and say, okay, it's time for me to choose the front doors. How much did you put in your budget? Or the doors, how much did you put in your budget? He'll give me a budget, and a lot of times he might give me a place that he wants me to go pick out at, right? So I'll go pick them out. Backsplash or tile, right? And then if I can't find something in his budget, I realize that that's a change order for the contractor, and that I'm going to have to make his budget, I'm going to have to contribute more. Now, why is it that I am so detailed in these scopes of work? I'll tell you why. I have multiple bids by multiple contractors, and I want to compare apples to apples. Now, if anybody here has ever dealt with contractors, you have a contractor come in and they're giving you one bid for one thing, and then you have another contractor come in and they're giving you a bid, but they added this, this, and this, right? Which is, it's really impossible to compare. So I give them a scope of work because I'm saying to them, I want you to bid this. And even if they have ideas and they're good ideas, I'll say to them, I don't want that bid right now. I'm going to think about that for the future, but I want you to bid this, because that way, when I have whatever 4 or 5 contractors come in and give me the bids for that job, I'm totally, comparing apples to apples. And I know that those contractors have gotten completely the same information. And I've even walked contractors through the property together that are competing on the properties. I wouldn't suggest that for anybody.
Mhm.
But, the fact of the matter is, time is money, and, I walk everybody through at the same time. Yes, I can send you this. Somebody asked in the chat yes, I will give you a scope of work sample. And I'm just putting that in the chat. There you go. There's your scope of work.
Okay.
So you'll see that. Now, the other part of this is keeping track of the budget. And, I have QuickBooks for my business, but I'll be honest with you, I keep track of each one of my flips on a Excel spreadsheet, right? And what I have is what the price is. I have an estimate, because usually I'm getting estimates, and then I have the actual, what it comes in at. And then I can keep the running tab going so that I know when I'm getting close to the end of my budget, right? And, landscaping is always at the very end of my budget, and I'm always out of money by then. But it's really important that, I'm in this Excel spreadsheet daily, every other day, depending on if the lighting is coming in, if the tile is coming in, the garbage disposal, whatever it is that you need to make sure that you have a way to keep track of your budget, and you're keeping track of your budget on a regular basis. So let's talk a little bit about getting work done. There are a couple different ways to go, and I'm listing 2 of them. One is to self-manage a project. It's where you're kind of the GC of the project. Sometimes you might do this if you have a smaller project, or, maybe you feel really comfortable. Maybe you have a background in construction, and so you want to feel comfortable managing a project. I've self-managed projects myself. It's more labor and time intensive. I always, and I suggest you do this too, for specialists, you always hire licensed people. For plumbing, electrical, HVAC, always hire licensed people. You don't want to, you don't want to be cheap on those things. And you be clear about, who's supervising, so if you have workers on site, then you make sure that, now, obviously, when I'm self-managing, I'm using that little desk in my, at the site, so that I can sit and get work done. And to be honest with you, if I'm on site and I'm getting work done, I'll walk the site, I'll walk all the rooms and where the workers are, probably once every 3 hours or so. The fact of the matter is, when workers tend to have questions, if you're not there, they do one of 2 things. They do it wrong, or they don't do anything at all and they leave because they can't go forward. And you don't want either one of those things happening. So staying close to site and being available for questions is really a more efficient way of getting things done. The other thing you can do is hire a contractor. I definitely suggest you check the contractor's license status, make sure that they're insured and they have liability and workers' comp for their workers. And then you need to make sure that you have an adequate contract with your contractor with payment milestones, so that you can give them some money and they get certain amounts done. You give them some more money, you get certain amounts done, and that there's timeline commitments on that contract as well as some retention money at the end, so that you can make sure that contractor completes their job. So a lot of times contractors will go over budget on one job, and then they're looking to start another job to finish the budget on a past job. So they're juggling their money and their time. And so I suggest you be really detailed with how do you use a contractor, and the contract that you use. And then I just think this is funny. This is what I call the contractor trifecta. You can have a fast contractor, great quality, and great price. Really pick two, because that's what you're going to get. If you have a contractor that's fast and has great quality, he's not going to have a great price. Maybe he's got great quality and great price, he's not going to be fast. Maybe he's fast and he's great price, but you're not going to get good quality. This is just, my way of, saying a contractor, if you have a contractor that does all three of these, kiss his feet. I mean, that's all I have to say, because it's an oddity. But know that there's things that you're going to have to juggle, and so I wanted to mention that to you. All right, step three. We're at the sale.
Deborah,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I don't want to interrupt your flow, but I want to know, how do you check the contractor status, and what is it that you're looking for?
Oh, I have milestones in my contracts. So, in other words, so when I demo, right, like they might get a portion of a payment for retention, when I retain them, and then when I demo, they might get another portion, and then when I see rough electrical and rough plumbing coming in, they might get another portion. When I see, if I have that contractor doing flooring and windows, they might get another portion, right? So I have it all laid out so that there's work and then payment, and then work and then payment, and then work and then payment. And that way the way the job keeps rolling along, right? And it's
I guess I misunderstood your point. I thought you were talking about their licensing status, or whether or not they're good to go for working.
Oh yeah, I definitely check their license. Yeah, I do. If contractors have complaints on their license, and it's multiple complaints, then it's probably somebody I'm not going to use. If they have one complaint on their license, I talk to them about it. I mean, this is a person that you're having a fiscal, as well as, you're going to have, I hate to say the word intimate, because it's not intimate relationship, but it is pretty intimate. They're going to be responsible for getting something done that you need done for your business to make money. So if I see something going on, I'll ask them about it. Hey, I noticed that your license was clean, except for 2 years ago you had some problems. What happened? And then I also listen to how they deal with my question, right? Because that says a lot too. I mean, how are they going to deal with my request when I say, hey, you know what, you didn't follow directions and you put the wrong tile in, you're going to need to, that's going to be on you to to change that, right? Like you're going to have times when you're going to have those honest and comfortable conversations. So if you see something in the beginning, just start then. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
I see that you said, how do you check their license? Thank you, Brittany, for answering that. In public record, yeah, you can search public records. So you give funds up front at the beginning of the job. I give a retainer. Yeah, they always want a retainer to start work. It's not, sometimes it's not a lot, and then I'll give more once they have demo done. I try to structure it so that they're getting rewarded along the way with payments. And most contractors pay their workers on Fridays. And so I always try to make sure that if they need money that week, I tell my contractors up front, if you need money that week, you need to tell me like by Monday or Tuesday for me to have a check to you by Friday. So they know that, I'm fully, aware that they have to pay their workers, and, but they need to tell me up front if they need money from me. Karen, it looks like your hand's up. Can I answer a question?
Well, I just wanted to actually bring up something too, in addition, that when you're checking your contractors, I mean, I know we flipped for 10 years and we acted as our GC, but and we got insurance, but we had to use it. Our job site did get broken into, and all of our contractors' tools disappeared, our tools disappeared, other items from the house disappeared. And so it doesn't matter whether you're doing the job. If you're doing the job and overseeing it, you better have insurance, because you don't know if something's going to happen. And if you don't oversee the job, you better make sure that the contractor has insurance, just in situations like that. So I just wanted to bring that up, that it's actually really important that you check those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because of loss. Yeah.
Yeah, things walk off the site.
They
Things
do.
walk off the site for sure. I actually, when I was developing, we were taking single families and building fourplexes, and I had a whole set of appliances walk off the site. Brand new appliances walked off the site. Yeah. And here it was really interesting. We had purchased the appliances with American Express, and American Express made good on them and resent us new appliances. I thought that was weird. Yeah. So I use American Express for all my purchasing. But we also there are security cameras that are solar operated and require a chip that you put in them. So it doesn't require cell phone or electricity, because on our sites, we didn't have electricity yet, right? So we had to figure out a way to keep track of monitoring on our sites so that we can avoid a lot of that stuff. So security cameras, making friends with neighbors. I love that too. Yes, making friends with neighbors for sure. Okay, step 3, the sale. Woohoo! Okay, the sale, it should be the best part, right? And to me, it's the hardest part. I want somebody to come in and love my home immediately. I want to be an escrow the first week I'm out. And, it's just, sometimes it's not that way. It's the most unpredictable part for me. And I think that's why it's hard to do. So the sale consists of three things: agent screening, negotiation, and then cashing the check. Nobody needs to know how to cash a check. So I'm going to talk about being an agent and representing your own property. I was not an agent my first 8 years of flipping. I handed all my properties over to other agents. And my feeling about that was that agents are really great about knowing their market, right? They take pride in knowing their market. They're really good at knowing their market. So why would I step in and into, an area that I don't necessarily know, I don't even have people in, and sell things that, that I didn't know. And then, my accountant sat down with me and started saying, how much money you're leaving on the table? And I realized that I was leaving a lot of money on the table. At this time, I only sell the properties that I have that are in the market I'm most familiar with. If there is a property that is outside of those familiar markets, I still screen agents and will use an agent for that. Because these properties are costing me money when they're on the market. So I want to put my best foot forward with the best agent that knows how. And sometimes that's me, and sometimes that's not. So I'm just really clear on that. And I just wanted to let you guys know that, because you guys are agents too. And sometimes you'll be faced with that decision. Am I the best person to market this property? Am I the best person for that? And just be really honest with yourself if you are or if you're not, you know. So I want to make that clear. Let's see. Oh yeah. So, you know, you can find other agents. There's different ways to find them. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Zillow rates agents according to how many sales they've done and in what markets. So I'll go in and I'll look for somebody who is in the niche market that I've just produced a property in, and high amount of sales, because they've got a lot of people that are coming to them for properties. So, or you can represent yourself. Okay, I'm going to talk about mindset a little bit, because I believe none of this is possible without sometimes changing your mindset. And I want to talk about how to create breakthroughs.
Did you know that you can participate in class every Monday? We call it Monday Night Live, 7 p.m. Eastern, with me and dozens of other investor agents from around the country, in fact, the world. Every Monday, totally free. No selling, no recruiting, just straight up education on anything and everything in real estate. And we have a lot of good guests coming on once or twice a month, bringing in expertise on subjects like how to buy a house with crypto. Okay, how about them apples? What about AI? How's AI affecting our business? How about the metaverse, blockchain processing? We're already using it in title work. So come on to Monday Night Live, be ready to take notes and ask questions, because it's live and engaging, and you get to participate by asking questions and meeting others. So we'll see you there. Go to GaryRealEstateWithGaryWilson.com, click on the resource tab, drop down, and you'll see Monday Night Live. And in there, you can see one of the most recent classes, but more importantly, you can register for class, as many as you want, going up to like the end of the year, I believe. So in any case, do that. We'll see you on Monday Night Live. Look forward to meeting you in person. Take care.
How to create breakthroughs in your life. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I think that a lot of us have had great plans and that you're really excited about, and then nothing comes of them. If there's anybody who's ever done that, you know, could you put yes in the chat? I've done it. I mean, I've done it. I'm like, I'm going to do this, and I've got this all planned out, and then I don't do anything about it. Right. Yes. Okay. We're all there. So, and this is about dealing with the inner conflict in your head about doing something like this. And I want to teach you some strategies to getting through that. So I'm gonna to create breakthrough, there's 3 different things that you can do to change to get those breakthroughs in your life. And so I'm going to go through each one of these. So hold on, so state. State is what we are in all the time. And we are actually masters, believe it or not, at sensing states in others, as well as managing our own states. So a state is our focus, our physiology, and our language. Now, we can determine states with other people. And I'm going to do this because it's easy this way. You know, you go into somebody's office and you have somebody sitting there like kind of down, you know that like something's happened. Their state is down, they're sad, they're, disillusioned. Or maybe you have somebody that you see that's really excited and kind of angry. You know that that's their state, right? But this is about talking about your own state. You actually have the ability to create states within yourself. And those states can help you in facilitating what you want next. And I'm just going to show you an example of this in myself. I'll tell you a little funny story. So I found myself single about 10 years ago, and I hadn't been single in 25 years. And I wanted to start dating again. And my coach at the time, I got super nervous. I just didn't even know, I don't know how to date. And my coach at the time was like, well, we need to, she had introduced the state thing with me, and we had worked on a state for my business. In fact, sometimes you might name a state, because that way, when you name a state, it comes quicker. I have a state and her name is Jordan, and she gets shit done. She's really focused, and she can just like go boom, 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 right? And she's like, well, what state are we going to give you for dating? Like, I don't, and I said, I don't know. Like, she's like, do any of your friends, do you think any of your friends are great dates? I'm like, all my friends are married. I don't know. I didn't have any resources, or I felt resourceless. And she said, well, who do you think would be fun to date? And I don't know why, but I said Goldie Hawn. I'm like, I think Goldie Hawn would be totally fun to date. I think she's like cute and funny and a little sassy. And I think she'd be really fun to date. Now, who saw a state change in me? Did you see that state change? That's Goldie. Like, she's like cute and sassy and kind of funny. And she's like bubbly like that, right? She said, how she explained it to me is that your states are parts of you. You can access your states. They're like wardrobes in your closet, and you can put them on. So I decided I was going to put Goldie on when I was going out to date, and I was going to just have fun and be a little sassy and flirty and that. Now, Goldie doesn't get shit done like Gordon, who saw that state change. Did you see the state change? Doesn't get shit done like Jordan does. Jordan gets stuff done. But the point is that you can create states in yourself. Create a state. What's your state of certainty? What if you had absolute certainty? What would that look like? How would you stand? How would you breathe? How would you feel, right? These are something that you can work with so that you can start to create breakthroughs in your life. So be aware of your state and what you can bring to any kind of situation depending on your state. The second element is your story. We all have stories, narratives that we tell ourselves about why we can or cannot do something in our lives. And whether we believe we can or can't, right? We're usually right, because our expectation of our story controls our focus and our perceptions and the way we feel and the way we act. And your story may be true. You may have been through a horrific experience, but that's not the reason why you can't have the life you want. For example, my story, my car accident. My story could have been scared, full of fear. Anything can happen at any time, right? But my story became life was short. Live it out now. Tell those that you love them. Grab each day. We can have a disempowering story, and it can control people to being stuck in their beliefs. Or we can have an empowering story that encourages us to get out of our comfort zone and move on. We have the ability to create those stories for ourselves. So be conscious of what your story is. And then strategies. So I live for finding strategies, like those shortcuts that help people get more done in less time, right? Strategies are those things. It's those insights. It's those distinctions. It's why you guys are here in the evening on a Monday night getting training, because you want strategies. It's building those strategies, those skills, those insights, and everybody can have them. They're distinctions, what allows other people to move forward more quickly. For example, take somebody who's born very poor, without an education, and had, emotional and financial challenges, but made it to be highly successful and living an inspired life. I don't think that's luck. Luck is what you do for a day or a week. Strategies is what we make consistently happen for decades. A strategy can be found in the simplest or slightest distinctions, and they can happen in an instant. So in creating breakthrough in your life, be conscious of your state. Know that you can write your own story, and then foster strategies that support all of that. Okay? I've got some questions in the chat. How many states have you named? Do you have a list of common ones? I do. I do have a list of common ones. And you'll be happy to know that Goldie ended up getting married about 4 years ago. And to be honest with you, I was very honest with my husband about Goldie's state, because that's who he fell in love with. And there are times, because, he knows all my other states too, that he'll say, I was wondering if Goldie was available for a date next Saturday night. What is he saying to me? He's saying he wants to see that side of me, right?
Mhm.
And,
That's so awesome.
It's great, right? So it's for those that are close to you, it's always really good for them to be able to know who that is, and it's great to name them too, because it's naming your dog. When you call it, it comes, right? So Brittany, you're not defined by what happened to you. You're defined by how you overcome it and what happened and built from it. Yes, yes, absolutely, Brittany, for sure, for sure. So does anybody, we're running out of time here. Do you guys want a case study or I'll, okay, all right.
Yeah,
We're gonna do a
definitely.
little case study here. Okay, this is a flip I did in a place called Cambria, California. And let me get started here. Oh,
Whoa.
whoa, sorry. That was too fast. Let me tell you the
Yeah,
story first. Okay. So I met a woman, her name is Kim, and she came to my cash flow game. And I play Cash Flow, which is a Robert Kiyosaki board game. If none of you have played it, find a Cash Flow game and go play it. It's super fun.
That is so much fun.
It's so much fun. Her father had just passed away and she was left with a house. It was a 2-1 in Cambria, California. And her dad was a collector. It was filled to the brim with stuff and she didn't know what to do with it. So the first question I asked her was like, how can I help? And she realized she didn't want to clean it out. It was too much for her. And she was wondering if I wanted to flip it or if I could help her sell it. And actually it was in a great location. It was only 2 blocks from the beach. Okay, and this was it. So I went and visited it. It was only 2 blocks from the beach. And although very congested with stuff, it was a good opportunity. And I considered flipping it myself, but it was 3.5 hours away from me. And so I dismissed the idea. I put it under contract and I tried to sell it, but we had some bids and the figures were low and Kim was not happy with it and she was disappointed and so was I. And then I realized maybe I was asking myself the wrong question. Oh, I think the next picture. See, I could see the ocean. I could see the ocean from there, 2 blocks from the beach. Anyway, I realized I wasn't asking myself the right question, and that was how could I flip this and make it work for me? My initial objection was that it was too far away from me, and I would have to be there all the time. So then I thought, well, maybe I can seek out a partner who I think I could work well with, and we could tag team each other and we could flip, and neither one of us would have to be there all the time. And then I realized, how would I make the numbers work? And I asked him, did she need the money right away? And would she sell or finance it for me? And she said yes. And I presented her with a contract. So it was a simple, easy to understand contract, which is a contract I use when I'm buying something with seller finance or, and by the way, I was not an agent at this time. So I just want to disclose whoever your broker is, you need to make sure that you're passing things by them and make sure that, you're in alignment. Okay. I'll just say it that way. So she owner financed it. The offer was for 400,000. I offered her 5% interest payment. So she was getting another 1,600 a month. And the fact of the matter is her appraisal came in at 400,000. So she was making more than the appraisal and she felt really good about that. And I was able to pay her those interest payments. I needed money. I needed 80,000 for the rehab budget. So I did a promissory note in the second position with interest payments, to a gap lender who was willing to do that for me. And so their payments were about $1,600 a month. And then I went ahead and started doing the work. So we had all kinds of things pop up, foundation issues. And because we were in a remote location, we had to deal with craftsmen, which were like, oh, we can come out and estimate things in 8 to 12 weeks. I'm like, I'm going to be done with this in 8 to 12 weeks. So we had to work around things. I actually ended up shipping a bunch of my materials from LA. We rented a U-Haul and took them out 3.5 hours. And then my flooring person in LA came out and actually did the floor at this place with the promise of having a weekend at the beach house as soon as it was done. Right? Like, make it all work for each other, right? So here's the after. It turned out beautiful.
Whoa,
Yeah, really nice.
nice.
That was that kitchen that I was standing in before. There's the kitchen and the bathrooms. So here are the numbers. The purchase price was 40,000. The rehab was about 80. It sold for 640. And after all of our closing costs and the 2 escrows and the holding costs, we cleared about 88,000. So it was about 44K each. And we were in and out in, I think, 5 months. That, was some creative financing and a way to get into things. And I want to leave you with one more story, and it's about Jim Carrey, and it's a story about his dad. His dad, he says his dad was the funniest man in the room, and he also played in a band. And in order to make it, it would have required that he moved away from Canada to the States. And he was a little afraid of that transition. And so over the years, he started abandoning his dreams in order to provide for his family, afraid that he couldn't make it and afraid that he would fail. And he became an accountant. And he wasn't a great accountant by all by the counts of things. And as time went on, accounting wore him down. And eventually his father lost his job at age 51. And, Jim took that and he said, he realized that he was compromising to raise a family. And when you compromise and you fail, it really hurts. And he had to leave accounting and become a janitor. And I'm telling you this story because you can fail at what you don't want. Right? So you might as well do what you want because there's really no choice to be made. Give what you really want a try. Personally, I would really rather fail at what I want. How about you? That's how I'm going to leave this tonight.
Yeah.
I hope you appreciated the time we've spent together. If you want to get a hold of me, this is my contact information.
Yeah. Hey, Deborah, I want to thank you for sharing the mindset stuff too, because that was a nice, pleasant surprise. And going through the 3 parts, your state, your story, and your strategy. And you really can change your state in an instant. It's not even a fraction of a second. It's instantaneous. When you choose to, you can use like saying things using certain words, reflecting on a certain memory. It's easy to say and hard to do. I mean, I know I'm a practitioner for decades, and I think we're always in a constant state of learning, perfecting those skills, but you do get better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Constant state of learning. Yeah.
Yep. And if you look back, amazing how, everything you've ever been through in life, you were always part of it. It's like, let's find out what was my role in this, what was my role participating in this circumstance.
It's
I know you
true.
and I talked about your broken neck and everything, and I messed my back up pretty good 2 years ago. And looking back on all those things that happened, I'm grateful for them now. I wasn't grateful then, but I am now, So
Right.
yeah,
It
but
challenges us.
yeah, what's amazing is you can, if you think about human nature, who here has ever had a child headed down the driveway chasing a ball into a street with cars coming? Has anybody ever experienced that? Or a tricycle or a bike? Did you just sit back and hope and wish and pray that child's going to be okay? Or did you just get up and haul ass down the driveway and go for like diving and tackling? Yeah, that's what we're capable of, right? And we're not just capable of that when it's absolutely necessary. We're capable of summoning that drive at any moment. So that was a lesson for me is if I could do stuff when I can't walk and I'm handicapped, just imagine what I could do when I'm back on my feet again. So it's a real wake up call when you have those things happen. And I don't wish ill on anybody, but I'm telling you, I can't walk in Deborah's shoes. What she experienced probably was worse than what I experienced, but I can tell you she got through it. know she'd like to go with because she's here right now teaching us, you know? So
Well,
just imagine what that, yeah, go ahead, Deborah, I'm
much
sorry.
of it is who you're surrounding yourself with and what you
Mhm.
choose to do. You know, I I got coaching, right? I was both my parents are immigrants, you know, I'm first generation American, and I was really taught growing up, you know, keep your head down, don't dream big, you know, and
Mhm.
I had to really I still work on changing my mindset to allow more in, and I still get coaching, you know, and I highly recommend, you know, find people, you know, this is a group, you know, surround yourself with those that are doing those things. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey guys, any questions on either the mindset or the rehab? I mean, there's so many gold nuggets in there, you know, if you're hopefully you wrote stuff down. Um, you know, because there's every investor I've ever met has ultimately developed their own way of doing things, their own style, you know, their own strategy. Um, the fundamentals are always there, you know, profit, loss, income, expense, asset, all that stuff. The fundamentals are always there, but it's in the execution that you find the real success, you know. So I'll give an example. When I first started out, I controlled everything. I went and bought the supplies and I bought into the property. So I knew exactly what was being bought and what was being used and what was left over and all that. And then gradually I started releasing that responsibility to the contractor that I trusted, you know. Um, but one of the biggest lessons I learned was that nobody ever taught me. This is just I came across it. You know, when I paid everybody on Fridays, it was like a mad scramble to get paid. They would call me, "Hey, when are you coming over, man? It's Friday. We want to get paid." And just by accident, I went by a property like an hour later after it was Friday. I was there at lunch just because I thought I had forgotten, so I didn't actually forget it, but I thought I forgot something there. Well, how many people you think were at that house working an hour after I'd paid them? Zero. So starting the next week, I told them all, I said, you know what? I'm gonna start paying you on Mondays. It's just the way my bookkeeping works. I'm gonna pay you on Mondays, and I'm only gonna pay for what's done. I'm not gonna pay for, you know, what you say is gonna get done. It's I pay for what was get done, and I always held off 10% at the end because if you leave a project with anything undone and you've paid them in full, they could be the best people on the planet. But if they got another paying job that's paying them new fresh money, your three bags of garbage on the front porch and empty cans of paint in the back, they're not going to come by and grab them. You got to
They won't.
withhold. Yeah. Any lessons there, Deborah, you can recall in your own experiences with?
No, that's the lesson. You know, you have to
Yeah.
keep them till the end, and until that punch list is completely finished, that's when they get
Yeah.
their final payment. You know, and you know, there have been contractors that have banished on me, and you know, what's
Mhm.
amazing to me, and I think it's a testament, like when you present a scope of work like that, they know you're serious. And there are a lot of contractors that will walk a property, get the scope of work, and don't have the energy to even do the bid. And that
Mhm.
just tells me they're not right for me. You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, I thought you were going to put in a bid, ghost. Okay, not my guy, you know?
Yeah.
And but
Yeah.
you know, also what helps is an abundance mindset. You know, there's tons of people out there that are wanting to do work and that want the work, and we just need to find each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually had a lot of success focusing in on the specialists, like things, there were things I could do myself, and I did in the beginning, but I didn't, you know, when I had kids, I was working a regular job. I didn't have time for that kind of stuff. But instead of finding general contractors, I would find somebody that was like a craftsman with the old style wood trim, because I had a lot of homes that were, you know, to qualify for uh, national historical designation. These guys are hard to find, but I'll find those niche people, right? The specialists. And lo and behold, they would introduce me to the other people that I needed to know, like the GCs and electricians and plumbers. You know, a lot of times they were in
Right.
business a long time. And
Or
that was a
sometimes they're even related to each other.
yeah, that was a great way to get in contact with other people that gradually I could, you know, delegate more and more to and do less and less myself. Um,
Well, thank you for having me, Gary. I have to
yeah,
hop off. I was supposed to be somewhere 6 minutes ago.
okay. You guys, I'll
Thank
stay
you,
on for a
guys.
little bit if you want. Deborah, thanks again. If you guys give Deborah a big pat on the back or a
Thank you,
hand wave
Deborah.
or a shake.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So Okay, guys, you guys like that? I know
Yeah,
it
it was good.
That was
a lot
great.
really fast, but she gave us the her sheets. So uh Beverly just asked me tomorrow, and I'll send them to you. I downloaded them on my computer, and I noticed she was using panelists and attendees, so I would download it and then repost it in the everyone box. Everybody should have seen those the spreadsheet and the checklist come through. So grab those, keep them. I like that spreadsheet because it's the finances are first. You never go look at a property if it doesn't look like desktop analysis makes it going to pan out. If it doesn't, why go waste your time? You know. So, hey guys, any questions on this or any other subject while we're here together? Problems you want to solve? Lisa, go ahead, Lisa. You want to meet yourself?
I noticed that the calculator link was on there, but not the worksheet. Do you know if maybe Beverly will send that when she sends the recording?
Yeah. Also, look back in the chat. I put that in the regular everyone box. Scope of work at 7:31. So you'll see scope of work. But yes, we will put it in the uh email tomorrow too. But you should be
Thank
able to
you.
grab it. You're very welcome. Yeah.
Also,
So,
the calculator was coming down as a PDF, so you will probably need to convert it into Excel somehow. So hopefully
oh,
the background calculations, the formulas will still be there when that happens.
okay. Yeah, I didn't notice that. Thanks, PF. Yeah. Um, let's see. So they'll be in the email. This is from thanks, Melanie. It's from Mike. I have a question about agent recruiting as a new agent. What do you think about someone not in production as a new agent but recruiting part-time to the team? Well, there's people, Mike, in EXP that have evolved and grown so much that they're not in production either. They're just building their downlines full time. You know, my philosophy is you should have both. You should be in production and you should be attracting people. So you have one eye on today, current income, commission income, and one eye on tomorrow, which is revenue share. And ultimately, I mean, that's you can retire on that, you know. However, I don't disagree with any of those other strategies. I'm not judging them. They've gotten to a point in life where they're able to do that, and that's their focus. You know, that just and there's people on this team right here that spend more time doing that too. You know, it's just their lifestyle. They've got other commitments. They're caring for family members. They're working other jobs, things like that. Sometimes agent attraction is the thing you can do that doesn't take up a lot of time and does bring in long-term passive income. I mean, that's you can't beat passive income. I mean, it's just, and this is the best passive income. I'm telling you, I've had a lot of rentals over the years, and it's anything but passive. Passive in terms of rentals is just an IRS word that means something completely different than what it means to you and I. Um, but you know, bringing somebody in, helping other people build their downlines, you know, there's no gray hair in that whole deal. It's all upside, you know. So, yep. But if you guys want to discuss that one-on-one, just set up a call with me. Agent attraction, obviously production too, but I know agent attraction tends to be somewhat sensitive sometimes. I guess I can understand why. I don't really see why. It's not that big a deal. Um, I mean, everybody here's well, half of you have actually done it. Um, and those that haven't have probably been hesitating and holding off and waiting, typically for you know the right day, the right moment to finish the project, all that stuff. But you know how that goes. You know, there's always going to be another thing the next day, the next week, and the next month. It's just a matter of commitment. If you want to build that passive income, you just say, "Hey, Gary, I want to do it." Set up a one-on-one, and I'll get you set up. You know, so yeah. Okay, any other questions? Anybody got a challenge you're facing? A particular client? Everybody's clients are real happy and peaceful and calm and very appreciative. Great clients.
At the
Okay.
moment.
Yep, that's right.
Gary, I do have a question.
Yep.
So when I guess I want to see what your input is. So as soon as we find like some good candidates, how do we schedule a time with you to meet with them as well? Like, should I just schedule maybe 2 applicants back to back in the or is that just maybe the 15-minute?
Yeah, I generally same thing, half hour call, and it's usually plenty enough time to go over things and let them ask questions and get to know them too. Some agents on the team, they're fine on their own. They're more independent. They just bring people in on their own, have the conversation on themselves. Others do set up calls with me, and I'm happy to do it either way. As long as you're, I want you to feel like you're going to succeed at it. And if that means you want to be on a call with me and the person at the same time, that happens every day. I mean, even Gina, you know, she was, she's probably one of the best there is, and she would still set up the calls with me to do have the big conversation. But it might be good in the beginning to do that, Lisa, and then you can
Yeah.
be on and listen and learn. And it's really, it's so much easier than you probably are thinking. That's my story. When I first started, I thought, I'm making this big thing out of it. Like it's a big giant project. It's going to take a lot of time, lots of phone calls, emails. Nothing could be further from the truth. The way we do it is these people are applying like they're applying for a regular 9 to 5 job. They're applying to be on the team. It changes the conversation 180 degrees. It puts you in the driver's seat, right? And they're the ones trying to convince you. Completely different dynamic. And it took me a while to figure that out. And once I did, I just tell you guys exactly what I do. I ask them to give a little bit of background about themselves. And I ask them, what are they looking to achieve? What are their objectives? What are their goals? What's their vision? Right. And the ones that just start talking and it rolls off their tongue like it's natural, because they actually have thought about it and put it down on paper. I can tell you there's a 90% chance you're going to succeed because they've already got the vision up here. Remember what Deborah said, that your state of mind, your story, and your strategy. So they've already got the strategy worked out. The story that they've already been visualizing in their head, and the state of mind is just a matter of choosing to be at peace and be joyful in spite of all the things that happen in life. Believe me, there's some folks on this call now are going through things that make most people crawl up under a blanket and turn off the lights and and wait for it to go to waste 6 months later. Can't do that. It's not, life won't let you. Um, but they rise to the occasion every single day. And that's the thing that I keep coming back to, guys, is there's lots I can teach you academically, but at the end of the day, the real learning is when you start doing. You learn from doing. We all do, and I can't be there, you know, driving around with you looking at properties, that's just not practical. But I can rely on you that if I give you A and you can figure out B through Z on your own, that you'll get out there and take action. That's the difference. If you look at production results, there's people like Shasteen, Susan Murray was on the night earlier. I mean, they're the top 2 producers on the team consistently. Um, and Susan does it totally quiet. You would never even know, you know. She'd never boast about it. She's just extremely uh humble and grateful. And yet she's there's been years where she was the top producer in volume and in dollars, both. That is really hard to do. That's extremely hard to do. Um, but she's been tested by the fire, and you can literally can achieve anything you want in life if you just simply take action. You gotta have some faith. You gotta take action and don't ever give up. You gotta keep swinging the bat. And even though you get hit by the ball sometimes, has anybody ever been hit by a car? You know what that feels like? Yeah, Dwayne's laughing about it now, and it's yeah, I can laugh too. But you know what? When you're put to the test, when you have no option, you have to succeed. There's no plan B. You'll actually do it. I'm willing to bet $1 million for each one of you here that you can do it. That's how certain I am, you know. So, and I don't just believe it; I know it. You know, I've not only seen it in myself, but in other people, and I know what we're capable of. There's just a lot of us don't see it sometimes. We don't understand what we're capable of. You're capable of way more than you give yourself credit for. You know. So, any case, feel like I'm starting to preach here, but does this help you guys a little bit? I mean, who here feels like you've been waiting? You've been not been taking action. You've been waiting because of something else. You're waiting for something to get done, or another day, or another week. Anybody even find themselves saying that? I'm going to do this after I finish this other thing. You know what? How about this? Treat life as a and equation, not a or equation. It's an and equation. You don't have to either do this or that. You can do this and that, you know? So, and I can give you examples of that if you want to stay on the call for a while, but I think was it Craig? Craig had your hand raised? Craig Leverett? If you had a question, Craig, go ahead and speak up.
No, I was agreeing,
Oh, you're
but
just saying amen.
yeah.
Yep. I tell you, I'll give you a quick one. It's not even related to real estate, but this is, what year was this? This would have been 2016, and it was mid-August. I was driving back from New York City teaching, going to my mother's house in Charlottesville, where I've been spending a lot of time these last 4 months, near Charlottesville, just to rest for the weekend, catch up, have some fun, see the family. And on the way down, my dad called me. My mom and dad split up when I was a kid. And he told me his middle brother had just passed away that morning with a major stroke. And I said, well, Dad, I'll be there tomorrow. I'm going to stop at mom's. I'll just, get a night's sleep, do some laundry. I'll be on the road first thing in the morning. I'm down to South Carolina. I'll be there with you. Um, well, I'm out in the driveway the next morning, and my daughter called. Does anybody have children in their like 20s, early 20s, or college, soon after college? And they've lost the ability to communicate effectively for somehow some magical reason. They just don't seem to communicate well. Well, my daughter called me out of the blue. First thing she said was, Dad, I just want you to relax. I'm going to be okay. Well, what happens in a parent's mind when your child first words out of their mind are, I want you to relax. I'm going to be okay. Well, something's wrong. So I said, Annie, what's wrong? She told me she was just diagnosed with a 7 centimeter tumor in her brain, 7 centimeters, about the size of a baseball, right here, right? And she was going to have to go in emergency surgery the next day. And I said, well, Andy, I'm in the driveway right now at Grammy's house. I'm just going to turn north, turn right instead of heading south. I'll be there in 5.5 hours. So I called my dad, told him what was going on. He understood. And the next day, we were talking to the surgeon, and he said, we have to delay one more day. We need to do some more tests, but she's okay. She's in the neuro ICU, and nothing could happen to her here. We got her totally monitored. So I said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to go down to the funeral, and I'll be back the next day when Annie comes out of surgery. Now, some people might question my judgment on that, but I knew in my mind that I could do it. I knew I could drive to South Carolina, be at the funeral the first thing Monday morning, and then drive back Monday night all the way back to Pittsburgh. And I did. I got there at 11 o'clock at night, right when Annie was coming out of surgery. So I was there right as she came out of surgery in the intensive care unit for neurosurgery. And me and her mom, who was, we were divorced here before that. So I got to be with my dad when he lost one of his brothers, and I got to be with my daughter when she came out of surgery. And that may seem like a stretch, but for me, it wasn't a stretch. It was a matter of, you know, doing the quick math in my head. Can I do that and not fall asleep at the wheel and crash? It caused another problem. And the answer was yes. So I decided I was going to live life as an and equation and not an or equation. You can apply that to any walk of life. I don't care if it's real estate investing, deciding between if you're going to call 5 clients a day and go see 5 houses. I think you can do both. I think you should push yourself, is what I think. I think every day, if you don't go to sleep exhausted, you probably didn't put enough energy out that day. Okay. Use every ounce of energy you've got. That's your currency. That's the blood flowing through your veins, metaphorically speaking, is your energy. And the more you put out there, what happens? Do you end up with less energy or do you end up with more energy? Who wants to answer that question? You end up with more. Okay. Energy feeds on itself, you know? So, I hope this is getting through. I know, the funny is the people hanging out here are usually the action takers, the ones that stay around at the end like this. You guys are the action takers. I'm looking at you right now. I can tell you, every one of you, capable of doing more than you believe you're capable of. There's a great look at, and I'm not trying to push any particular religion on you, and I know I've seen the message in multiple teachings, the Quran, the Gita, the Torah, the Christian Bible, and even in Buddhism. Well, Buddhism is not There's not one concise set of dogma, but the message in the Christian Bible is Ephesians 3:20. Just look it up. Google Ephesians 3:20. Whether you believe in it or not, or you have a different God you worship, or just look it up and look at the message. It tells you everything you need to know. You know. So, in any case, with that, I'll try to be quiet again and see if you guys have any questions. Or how about this? Who wants to suggest a topic for class? Um, let's see. This is from Jeff. Hey Jeff, if you go to her website and give her your email, I think you can download the Excel spreadsheet. Thanks, Jeff. So guys, if you go to Deborah's website, looks like you can download that thing. That'd be awesome. And here's a PDF converter from Trevor. Thanks, Trevor. So I'm going to put that. For some reason, guys, when we use host and panelist, not everybody gets what we're posting. But if you post to the option that says everyone, then everyone gets it. I noticed that throughout tonight. There was a couple people that weren't seeing the post when they were made to host and panelists, but when we made them to everyone, everyone saw them, you know. Okay, let's go back here. You're welcome, PF. Can you add me as a panelist? Jeanette, yes. Hang on, Jeanette. Oops, I may have already made you panelist. Unless Jeanette's logged off already. Let's see. Oh, there's Jeanette. Hey, Jeanette. Okay, let's see. This is the next one is from Mike McGran. Are you familiar with the disc profile? Hey guys, if you haven't done a disc profile lately, definitely do it. In fact, you can get it off Tony Robbins' website for free. Just Google Tony Robbins disc profile, DISC, and it's a great exercise. The thing I like about the disc profile, it's kind of high level. There's other things you can do that get a lot more detailed, but I like it because it's basically four things: DISC, D for driver, I for influencer, C for the analytical type people, computational, and S for people who are more like in a background role, support role. We can all be in all four quadrants, not generally at the same time, but usually two, sometimes three at the same time you can, and you can migrate between quadrants. But more importantly is it allows you to identify other people's tendencies, right? And their basic personality profile. What did they lead with and what did they react with? And I hope you understand that. Then you can kind of craft your presentations. You can, when you meet with someone, you can adjust your delivery, right? Oral and through body language to more effectively communicate with the other person. That's the real benefit of learning the profile, is you can learn to recognize these traits in other people, you know? Thanks, Mike, for that. Let's see. Jeanette says, I like the preaching. Good. So gives me time to practice, I guess. Let's see. And often time management and mindset. Yep. Okay, Brittany, running four businesses and full-time job while being a wife and mother. Yep. So Brittany, you're one of the few people I know that actually as busy as you are with all this. It's just amazing, you know. Anna's another one, guys. Anna Galumian, you guys are my heroes, you know. I don't even know how to put it into words. When I watch what you're doing, knowing what you're going through, you know, you guys are my heroes. That's inspiring. You know, but people, I can tell you there's days I know Anna's out of gas, you know. She's left it all on the field to sit in football. Leave it on the field, leave everything out in the field and go to bed exhausted. Then you probably would have had a good day. And she gets up and does it again, day after day after day, with two little beautiful girls in tow too, you know. So yep, I could go on and on about that. My mom raised us for a period by herself, and my dad was in Vietnam, and they had split up, and she was a bank teller. Anybody know what bank tellers make? Yeah, teeny, teeny, tiny bit, you know. And my brother, sister, and I, we were, pitching in and cooking, cleaning. My paper route money was sometimes used to buy groceries. This is what it was like in the early days. That people don't ever see those things, but I tell you what, when I got to college, when I got to high school and started working, You know, I probably had more fun and more money than almost any other kid in high school because I knew how to handle it. I knew what it was worth. And I, bought my own, went skiing to pay for that by myself, helped buy my own car, two of them, in fact, you know, went to college. And then when I got out of college, had my first job, I thought I'd made it, man, making a whopping $20,000 a year. This is how far back that was. That's a long time ago. Back then, it allowed me to buy a house less than a month after getting out of college. 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom ranch in Virginia Beach, Virginia, 5 minutes from the ocean. You know, everything's relative. So, in any case, I'm going to challenge you guys. We're going to be doing the vision exercise starting next month. Okay. So, in December, on the 11th and the 18th, Monday nights, we're going to be going over the vision exercise and the goals exercise. So, what I want you to do tonight is just write down one thing you've been putting off that you should probably do. If you did it and you did it well, you'd be at a different level. Write that one thing down and I mean commit to it. You can literally set it in a mirror. So I commit to doing X, whatever it is. When you get to that level of self-talk and your state of mind, there's nothing or no one can stop you. The only person can stop you is you, right? In spite of all the you're going to have resistance from your family, your friends, coworkers, banks, lawyers. You're going to get resistance all over the place. But when you have that vision so clearly imprinted in your brain, it's almost a mathematical certainty you're going to achieve it. I can't tell you when. It might be tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month, next year. But if it's important enough, you remind yourself of it every single day. You know, there's another great story about Jim Carrey. Do you guys know this? That when he first moved to LA, he was scrounging for jobs. And he wrote a check to himself, like it was not a good check, of course, but for $10 million. He said, one day I'm going to do a movie and they're going to pay me $10 million to do this movie. And guess what happened to him several years later? He actually got paid $10 million. I don't know what the movie was, right? But he showed it, right? So how's that for visualization? You guys know who John Ashraf is? He used to own the Indiana region for Remax. Became a motivational speaker. I got to meet him and meet his wife. His wife is paraplegic in a wheelchair. And I didn't know that when I met him, he was speaking. And I got to go back in what's called the green room to hang out with all these speakers. This was before I was speaking. I was just getting started. And he and I were in the lobby talking in a break, in the middle of a break. And he looked at me and he said, he was looking over and said, hang on 1 second. I go get my wife. I'll be right back. He was willing to drop everything to help his wife. Even though he was at a big event with a lot of other big people, nothing mattered more to him in that moment than his wife, you know? So I'm telling you that the guy's extremely successful, but he also knows the priorities, right? He knew what was first in his life. And what a great example for people to role model up against. But here's the other part of the story. He does vision boards. Everybody should have a vision board with the things you want, right? Pictures of these things you want, and maybe words. So he'd done a vision board back in Indiana and put it away. Just ended up putting it away. He was, they were having babies and raising kids, and he makes good on his commitment to help other people in a big way, and made a lot of money, enough money to move to California and buy an oceanfront home right in I forget where it was. I think it was Santa Barbara or one of the beautiful places out there. Yeah. Any case, so they're unpacking boxes, and his 5-year-old son pulls out the old vision board with the picture of the house on it. And he said, "Daddy, look." And guess which house it was? It was a house they just bought. This is true. You know, I mean, I'm telling you, there's magic in visualization, and the more you put yourself into it, the more magical it becomes. So we're going to do that in December, guys. I hope you're ready for it. Okay. Anything else? Oh, Ace Ventura was the movie. PF says it could be. Oh my gosh, a cold calling. Brittany, guys, I'm telling you, it came up today in the commercial mastermind. You know, all marketing works in certain markets, okay, but not every marketing works in every market. In the market we're in right now, it requires you to use the phone more than ever before, right? That even include even over and above the letter and the booklet, the two things I promote the most in marketing, the letter and the booklet. You still want to do stuff like that, but you need to carve out a third of your production time for calling people. We call it shaking the tree. Call the people on your contact tree. Keep doing the booklet. Um, the letter probably put off to the side for the moment, okay, while we're going through what we're going through. But there's other things you can do. And the booklet is one of those things you should be doing, like the background. Your phone calling should be doing you be doing in the foreground. And I would just do that every day. Karen Green on right now. She calls up to 100 people a day, guys. 100 people. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 100. And sometimes we worry ourselves, gee, can I make 20 calls? Of course you can, but you got to start dialing. So, how about that for commitment? I think everybody here should commit to making 20 phone calls tomorrow. If you hit 10, 10's better than 0, but just make the commitment and do it. Don't worry about what you're going to say. The key is to maintain a relationship, give them something of value, create a booklet so you can give them a booklet. Okay, going once, going twice. All right, guys. Hey, if you need something and you can't get a time schedule, just text me, let me know. Remember, next Monday, after next Monday night, I'm on the way to Germany. So I'll be definitely off the grid for 2 weeks. I will have the phone, but I'll be with the family, and you can rely on each other through the chat group on the workplace page, on GIA workplace page. And anything we used to say, if anything that involves flood, blood, and fire, then yes, you can call me. Flood, blood, and fire.
Have a great vacation, Gary.
Thank you. Oh, I haven't done anything like this. I don't know how long. We're going away we haven't done it since we were kids. So I know I'll go away, of course, but not like this. This is good to see where I was born and all kinds of good stuff. Lots of different stuff.
Germany and Christmas sounds amazing.
Yep, I'm ready. And I don't know if you guys know this, the Germans are pretty good at making beer. That's what I hear.
They're good at chocolate too.
Yep, all kinds of stuff that probably not good to eat, but I'm ready. I'm ready for it. So yeah. Okay, guys. Hope you have a wonderful night. All right. God bless you and your families. Challenge yourself. Just do it. Just challenge yourself. Do it. If you do it for your family, do it for your parents, your kids, brothers, sisters. At the end of the day, you'll come shining through, right? Okay. Adios, amigos.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Bye.
Night. Good night. Thanks, Gary.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching this episode of Monday Night Live. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.